This delicious hot cocoa recipe is one of the most popular recipes on my website. Let me show you how to make it. To start, we're going to add brown sugar, cocoa powder, and some salt into a small saucepan. We're not putting this on the heat just yet. What we want to do first is combine these things and try to break up any clumps. Now, I used a ratio of 1 part cocoa powder to 1 part light brown sugar in this recipe, and I find that's usually sweet enough for most people, but when I make this for myself, I actually add less sugar, and you may find that you want more sugar, so play around with the quantity and find what works best for you. Next, I'm just grabbing the cold milk that we're using for this recipe, and I'm just going to put 2 spoonfuls into the pot with our cocoa mixture. What we want to do is dissolve the cocoa into a little bit of milk first, and then we'll incorporate it into the rest of the cold milk. And this is actually going to give you a smoother hot cocoa in the end. At first it won't look like it's doing anything, but as you keep stirring, you'll see that the mixture gets darker and glossier as well. So that's looking really good to me. So I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of the cold milk into the pot and give it a good stir to combine. That looks well incorporated, so let's go ahead and put it on the heat now. So I'm just using a hot plate for this video because I'm not really set up to shoot at my stove yet, but basically whatever heat device you're going to use, whether it's induction, gas, or an electric stovetop, just try to make sure you've set your temperature to about medium heat. Now it's time for the fun part. So we're going to add our flavorings to the hot cocoa, and I'm just starting with some vanilla extract. Next, I'm going to add 2 star anise pods, and those just go in whole, and we're going to add 2 cinnamon sticks, also whole. We're going to fish those out at the end, so don't worry about it. They can just simmer gently into the mixture. Now the nutmeg I do like to grate in, just because nutmeg is expensive, and I don't want to throw a whole nutmeg into there and then fish it out and have to throw it in the garbage. So you can either use freshly grated like I am, or pre-ground is totally fine too. If you're looking for other ingredient substitutions, or if you'd like to see 2 other flavor variations for this recipe, I actually have that in the blog post for this recipe on my website, so I'll be sure to drop the link for that below. So the cocoa needs to simmer for about 10 minutes to incorporate all of those flavors, and you'll want to make sure that you're stirring often just to make sure that it doesn't stick or burn. Once that's done, you can go ahead and remove the pot from the heat and strain it to remove all of those large spices. If you're going to serve this to guests, I do recommend taking the strained mixture and pouring that into something that's going to hold the heat, like a thermos or a thermal carafe. Now you can enjoy this as is, but I happen to think that this recipe is extra delicious with some whipped cream. And you can make your own freshly whipped cream if you want, but honestly, most of the time I just use the canned version and it's great. You can decorate the cup with a star anise pod and maybe a cinnamon stick if you want to be fancy, and I like to add a little dusting of cocoa powder on top. That's it for this recipe. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to see more from me. Thanks for watching.